Dot practice game out of the way. What were the kind of takeaways and feedback and learnings you're able to get from that?
So we've had 2 pracky games, and both of them were solid. We probably, every time you run out in a practice game, the main thing is you don't want to get any injuries. So we got through both games relatively unscathed. We've got a couple of minor ones, but nothing that should be, too long term. But in terms of the way we played, it's probably 80% of it was pretty good, and 20% not quite where we want it to be. But so nothing really insightful for you, but we're reasonably happy.
You've been with the program a long time now. You kind of know what the expectations are in pre-season when you want to be in the premiership conversation. Based on where things are at now, are you comfortable and happy with where things are at in the pre-season going into round 1?
We feel like we've trained really hard. As I say, the 2 hit-outs probably haven't been particularly insightful. I think the competition, every year the competition evolves really rapidly, so you can't really take too much out of previous years and even the pre-season. So I think we'll probably find out in about a month's time how we're going. But in terms of have we prepared really well? Yeah, really comfortable with everything that we've done to this point. And we're looking forward to it. It's been a while, so the main thing I think is just that sense of excitement, anticipation to be finally getting into the competitive phase of the year. So they train really hard for 6 months without any week-to-week rewards. So it's nice to be at the time when they're actually going to get to run out and try and win.
You mentioned that it's nice to get through it without any injuries. That's your main goal. But is it nice to get the win as well and get the girls confident before round 1? Yeah,
the winning and the losing pre-season doesn't matter a heap, to be fair. But as long as you're sort of seeing some of the elements that you're hoping to see, and obviously if you do that, you may well win, which we were able to do both games. But probably, as I said, probably 80% of it really happy, and then 20% not quite right. But in some ways that's good as well, because you don't really want to be 100% before the season gets going.
Chelsea Bedell as a forward?
Yeah, so obviously that was a little bit needs-based, but she started her career forward. So we've always known she had that capacity, but clearly since she's gone to halfback, she's been All-Australian the last couple of years. But we just needed a little bit more aerial presence ahead of the ball, and she was able to provide that through the first half, and then we threw a few other options at it as well in the second half. So we might have some slightly different looks, but I'd say she'll probably still end up spending a fair chunk of the season at halfback. She's pretty good there.
Sarah Allen, a bit of a run in the midfield.
So that's been an ongoing discussion. Probably since I've been involved, we've known that she's got capacity to play up the field. But it's a bit dependent on what we've needed in the back line. So at the moment, with Zoe Prowse sort of progressing really well over the last 12 months, that's given us some flexibility. And so Sarah's got capacity to play pretty much anywhere on the ground. So she spent probably 25% in the midfield yesterday, and hopefully it might be something like that, but it'll probably depend on the balance of the team.
Are you trying to increase sort of that versatility within the team and kind of make it a strength in your playing group?
Yeah, I think we've always strove. Is there a strove for that? We've been striving towards that because ultimately I think everyone should have two positions that they can play for them individually, but then also for the group. And we've always probably had that. It's just it's a needs-based thing. So obviously we've spoken about Sarah going up through the midfield, but almost everyone in the team has a second position that they're trying to master.
Small sample size, but what have you made of the new captains so far and what they've been able to do in a bit of actual match play?
Well, I was really confident, and I guess that it's a significant change to when I first took on the role. To sort of think that Chelsea Randall wouldn't be the captain would have been pretty bizarre, to be honest, because she's such an amazing leader. But when she came to me last year and reflected that she felt it was time to hand it on, I was probably of the same opinion, not because she couldn't keep doing it for ever and a day, but just because those underneath were ready to roll. So I think it's no surprise that they've taken to it really well, and I think it pretty much hasn't changed the way they go about it, to be honest, but they'll do a really good job.
Can I just ask you a really random one?
Yeah.
For Gather Round, there's been some talk that there might be an AFLW showcase game around that time. Have you had any conversations around what that's going to look like?
I haven't heard anything personally, but let's do it, eh? More games. We're chasing more games, so we throw one in April or May or whenever it might be, then why not? I think the whole anything that promotes AFLW is a great idea in my book, and if that's being played through the men's that gather around, or if they have AFLW gather around, I think all those concepts would be really worthwhile pursuing.
Do you think that should look like a sort of state of origin model, which could potentially be transferred to the men's later on as well?
Well, state of origin's a hell of a lot of fun. It died a natural death in the men's back when I was playing, so it's a while back. But I really like the idea of it. I love the idea of state of origin. And I think in women's footy in particular, it's got great potential because the season's so brief and there's this really long off-season period. So with the appropriate amount of lead in and the right level of training for all those that are going to participate, I think there's great potential for that.
That third quarter, they got on top of you a little bit yesterday. What do you make of that now? Happy were you with the fight backs?
Yeah, no, I think they're, obviously they've got a relatively young squad, but they've got some capacity, and I thought they really did dictate terms for probably about a 15-minute period there. Ultimately I feel like, as I said, we probably played 80% of the game the way we wanted and 20% not, and you've highlighted the 20%. So but that's going to happen. You've got to accept that opposition are going to come and have a period of where they're on top, and you've just got to manage your way through that. We probably let in maybe 1 or 2 goals that we wouldn't have liked to, but ultimately beyond that, I was really reasonably comfortable.
Port got a win as well. Are you keeping one eye on things that are going up on the road?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so that's our round 1 opponent. So absolutely, the trial game we had at Port Augusta was probably not 100% reflective because both teams basically threw everyone at it, and there was a million rotations, and it was pretty random. But yeah, to win against Melbourne, they'd be really happy with that. It's going to be at their home deck, it's 7 o'clock at Alberton, so I reckon it'll be a good atmosphere, and we're looking forward to it. Should be great.
Did you learn anything from that game at Port Augusta a couple of weeks ago?
I learned that we've got great support in the regions. They were getting around us. Port Augusta was awesome, and it was really good for us to be able to take a game out to the regions, and BHP, major sponsor, got behind that event. So I think that's probably something we would look to do in the future as well. So from that perspective, it was really good. And as I said, it was it was a pre-season trial, so the game itself maybe not so much out of that, but the idea and the concept was really strong. So
what do you make of your new players that have come onto the list this year?
Yeah, I think we've been really happy basically. So essentially, our first draftee was Brooke Boylo. So she's played midfield and high half forward across the first 2 games and had an impact. So to come into it in your first year and have an impact is really, really pleasing. Tamara Henry, equally in Port Augusta, did all right. She unfortunately had a little subluxation of her shoulder at training the other day, so she's probably going to miss for next 3 or 4 weeks. Lily Tarleton, Queenslander, came down. She's 22, I think, so she's a little bit older, but she's for a key position player, that's probably not a bad thing. And she's played ruck, a little bit of key defence, so shown some capacity to help out. And then our Irish recruit has been in the country 3 whole weeks and has played 2 games of footy, her first 2 games ever. So Amy Borkar has been outstanding off the back of that preparation. She's had an impact, so we're really, really pleased with all 4 that have come onto the list this season.
Doc, before you go, Isaac Rankin, what did you make of it?
Yeah, well, obviously it'll go to the tribunal. I assume it's already been referred, yeah. So I think the way the industry is moving, pretty clearly that one sees someone get rubbed out for a length. Cheers.